Welcome to a subsequent episode of Green Crime. Well, and I've been gone for the past 2 weeks, so maybe you guys are wondering, where has she been gone to? Well, I've been juggling an 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. Then I have upcoming exams in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, that whole stress motion. That's why I've been able. But from the ones who are amazing fans who are still here and waiting for me, here I am, I'm back. Well, today we will have on our series today we're going to have an episode. This is about a man who was wrongfully accused of raping his daughter. Very sad indeed. So I want to see, is this a crime where there was it his innocence justifiable, and there are other factors that we can come up when relating to stories, so stay tuned.
Our story begins outside a courtroom. A family, a father, Julius Wambua Musyoki, and daughter, Dorcas, very jubilant to finally get to hug and make merry on the father's breath of fresh air. After 8 years behind bars, was this a case of miscarried justice? This opens up the jar holes to more questions and answers. Our flashback takes us back to 8 years ago, the family living the day-to-day life. The mother recounted the event at the time to Lynn Ngugi Tuko News. The mother recalled the eventful day when she came home and allegedly found a terrified Dorcas claiming that her father had sexually assaulted her. Though her marriage had been turbulent, with her husband Julius Wambua being bullisome, often drunk and a tyrant, but never had she imagined that he'd be capable of that. The mother, traumatized in a state of denial, but wanting to affirm what her daughter had said, quickly took her to a medical practitioner. The mother then recounts that Dorcas, being about 16 years at the time, was able to give her own account of events of what took place. She reiterates that her daughter affirmed to the medical practitioner that indeed she had been sexually assaulted by her father. It is then that her mother reported the case to the police, and her husband, Dorcas' father, was arrested and eventually incarcerated for his vile crime. Flash forward 8 years later, a much-grown Dorcas, in tears, stood before the Court of Appeal, recanting her initial statement, stating that her mother had coerced her into giving the false testimony against her father. The defendant insinuated that there was some property in question that Dorcas' mother wanted to possess. After assessing the newfound evidence, the court declared Julius Wambua a free man. In tears, Julius Wambua, outside the courtroom, thanked God for his found freedom and said he'd fully forgave his wife and would take her back if she decided to reconcile with him. However, the wife, on the other hand, maintains the stance that she did only what her mother would do and never had she coerced her daughter. She stated that she loved her daughter no matter what, and despite the ongoing difference, was only open to reconciliation with her and not her father.
Now down to our overview and analysis. This is a case when we have 4 sides to the story. Yeah, 4. Often we have 3 sides of the story. Now, in this case, we have the mother's side, we have the father's side, we have the daughter's side, and then we have the truth. And to actually delve in this, we'll start with the father's side. So the father has always insisted on his innocence. Never at any point has he ever admitted guilt in any sense of the story. And we have the mother's side, where the mother claims to have found her daughter 16 years at the time. 16 years, is a big girl. I can't say it's a kid, but teenagers I'd say it's relatively an older teenager. So this is somebody who has a sense to us. So this, her mother's story is she was told by her daughter. She came and found her daughter in that deplorable state, took her to a medical practitioner, and she actually was able to talk to the practitioner, who was able to tell her, who came to the conclusion that she'd actually been defiled. That's the mother's side. Then we have the daughter's side, who claims the mother had coerced her into that situation where she told her to say that. So she's initially, around 10 years ago, had said that the father had taken advantage of her. But then 10 years later, she recants the statement and says, no, I was not taken advantage of, but I was actually forced to say this. Then it becomes a very difficult situation. So at first the Court of Appeal refuses to appeal the case, but then because of the outcry, Twitter and everybody, people wondering what's happening, it could be. So you have them. So some of the reasons why this daughter might have recanted the initial statement could be suicidal pressure. You know, the rape victims sometimes are forced to recant the statement because of taboos, systems and societies whereby even a victim is seen as a curse. Because there's some communities whereby even if you're raped by your father, nobody can marry you because of the curse factor. They see it as a man, like a man cannot wife a girl or a woman whose father slept with her. So it's like seen as a curse. It's also one among the reasons she could have recanted her statement. But also, it could also be true that the mother actually coerced her. You know, a mother has given influence on a child, and she wanted to believe that mothers are good, but not mothers are also humans. So she might have actually forced her child to do this, and that's very evil for a mother to do, but we have to accept, we have to come to realization. Mothers are also humans, and mothers sometimes, yeah, they can mess up. Like in this case, I feel like the mother actually called her. So, and I'm also saying that suicidal pressures can play to a victim recanting their statements later on. And that's the truth. And that's the most difficult part. You can never know the truth. So the truth is just, you played. You can only assume to give an extent. This guy was guilty 10 years ago. He's innocent now, but is he truly innocent? That is something that is debatable. Like I say, suicidal pressure might make a victim actually can't take statements later. And then we also have to believe the fact that mothers, even though seen as this integral part of society, can also play a role. That can also open our mind to see a bigger picture, so that men are not falsely accused just because. We need evidence, we need tangible evidence, because statutory rape is taken very, very seriously, and there's no defense for statutory rape. But you also need a due process to make sure that when men, fathers, uncles are accused, then there is justifiable evidence, so that we just don't have our men going down just because of the aspect that mothers are super beings. Well, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Do like, subscribe, and see you next week sometime. Till then, ciao.